Okay, now.
Okay, so good morning everyone. Welcome to today's session. That is Drupal Down Motto, 2026. Let's say thank you to all our sponsors. And let's move on to this next slide. Today's topic is WCAG 2.8 explained in a simple guide for Drupal builders. And my name is Anjor Rao. I work as a web developer at BC3. I specialize in site building and front end. Little bit about me. I'm a front-end developer. I've been working for past 5+ years. I'm a certified site builder. And then I've been working on WCAG compliance for a year now. I'm still learning about this stuff. It's really complex. It's in depth. And I'm passionate about building all-inclusive sites and builder-first approaches. Outside of the work, I love to explore cities and experience different cultures. Then let's move on to the next one. And just to let you know, this is my first Drupal camp session. So let's build a little nervousness here. Yeah.
Will this deck be available after?
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Oh.
Okay. So this is the overview. First is introduction to the accessibility, that is your screen is not the screen. Then we have law behind accessibility. Then we have the four principles, 4 pillars of accessibility. And the last and important is 50 rules, 4 pillars. Let's break it down. Here we'll go to discuss more in depth. So the basic agenda, or let's say, can you guys read the text in the block, gray block? Is it visible? I'll give you 2 to 3 seconds. Maybe there might be some issue.
Auto 2026.
Oh, okay, perfect.
But we're wearing glasses, so it makes it darker.
You have to focus though.
And now can we see clearly? It's much clearer, right? So this is one of the major accessibility issue, that is text color contrast. And since we have increased the contrast ratio, now it's visible. There might be a certain type of issues on our site, and this creates a gap between the end users who cannot see the site, who cannot hear, they have vision disability, motor disability, then trigger seizures, etc. So WCAG compliance helps us to bridge that gap. And here we are going to discuss all the rules that will help us to bridge the gap. I've added some memes over there for your reference. You can just enjoy those. So let's go one by one. That is WCAG. What is WCAG? WCAG is a web content accessibility guidelines. It's kind of an owner manual for the web to ensure that we are in the right path for creating the site for all type of end users. So it's all about inclusivity and giving them control rather than us controlling the site. We have 3 levels here, that is A, AA, AAA. A is the bare minimum. It covers all the critical barriers, and this needs to be fixed. AA is a legal standard requirement for most of the government sites and businesses. AAA is the best practice. It's beyond compliance, and it's just for the specialized services. And yeah, these are the 3 levels. And today we are going to focus on WCAG 2.1 AA compliance. There are 50 success criteria and 30 level, which is from 30 level from level A to 20 and plus 20 from 30 from level A and 20 from level AA. Okay, moving on to the next slide, that is law behind accessibility. We'll have a quick overview about the Canadian law and the US law. First is AODA, which cover all the Ontario organization. Its standard is WCAG 2.0 AA. Then enforced by ADO. Deadline is already been enforced, and the risk is up to $100,000 per day. The next one is ACA. which covers federally regulated organization. Standard is WCAG 2.1 AA. It's enforced by Accessibility Standards Canada, and deadline is deadline for the public entities 2027, and for the private is 2028, and the risk is loss of federal contracts. Now let's move on to the next one, that is US law. US, the first law is DOJ Title II, which is currently right in hot topic. It covers state, local government. Standards are WCAG 2.1 AA. Then enforced by DOJ, that is Department of Justice. Deadline for entities that has population greater than 50,000 is April 2027, and entities for the population less than 50,000 is April 2028. This has been just updated. Previously it was in 2026 to 2027. Now they have recently updated. Risk is lawsuit, legal fees, remediation. And the next one is Section 508, that covers federal agencies and contractors. Standard is WCAG 2.0 AA, and it's enforced by US Access Government. Deadline has already been enforced since 2018, and the risk is loss of federal contracts and funding. This is just an overview of all the rules and of all the laws. So the conclusion, we can say 4 laws, 2 countries, 1 standard, that is WCAG 2.1 AA. It's not just a best practice, but it's a law on the both sides of the border. Okay, now let's move on to the next one, that is 4, the 4 principles of accessibility. P is perceivable. The one that introduction slide we saw, or we saw, is that comes under perceivable. Content must be presented in all the ways so that all end users can either they can see, they can read, or they can hear it. Then next is O, that is operable. All the functionality must be operated by either keyboard with no mouse, no traps, and enough time to complete them. U is understandable. The content and interface should be in the clear, predictable language. It should be error-free, and they can navigate or comprehend the content on the site very clearly. And the last one is R, that is robust. Content must work reliably across all type of technologies. Either it's a website, it's a phone, or assistive technologies like screen readers. All inclusivity. It's all about that. Okay, so we have 50 rules. What I tried to do is I tried to group them into 12 and made those group which had like similar issues and similar solutions to understand it quickly. So this is just a summary table of those groups. You can have a quick overview. I'll give you two seconds. We are going to discuss all of these items in the next upcoming slides. If you guys have any questions, any inputs, anything, just let me know, or we can just discuss. It's all about the discussion. It's not like a section. Okay. Now, moving on to the first group, that is image and alt text. Rule number 1, that is 1.1.1. No text non-text content. Every image, icon, chart, then icon chart must have a text alternative so that the end user can read, can understand the purpose of that content. But if you have anything that is decorative, then mark it as that doesn't have any context, then you can mark it as a decorative. So solution for this is to make all text required for the field, all image fields inside media modules, or train the users to write a meaningful description. And then the next one is 1.4.5. Images of text. Text must always be real HTML, never saved as an image, so that the end users can resize, recolor, or make some changes to the image. So for example, if you have any image that has text in it, and in future they might squeeze it or enlarge it, the text doesn't make any sense. So simple solution for that is audit the media library, check all the images that has text in it, replace them, and create 2 separate fields for image and the text, and assign CSS to that text. Next group is audio and video. Under this group, we'll discuss all about the audio and video rules. So the first one is 1.2.1, audio only and video only. Every audio and video files must have a full text transcript, so that the users who cannot play or hear, but they still have the relevant information for that file. And simple solution: make the transcript as a required field for every entity type fields, and block the publishing until one is provided. Moving on to the next one, that is 1.2.2, caption pre-recorded. Every pre-recorded videos must have synchronized caption, so that the user who cannot hear, but they are still following you, like what's happening in that video. And simple solution again: make captions as a required part of your publishing workflow, and no video goes live without the captions file attached. I guess this part is under like text editors, more on the client side, we would say that. Moving on to the next one, that is 1.2.3, audio description media alt. Every pre-recorded video must have an audio description or text alternative, so that the blind people can understand all the visual information. Simple solution again: add a required audio description track or full text alternative, so to every video type entities, and block the publishing until one is added to the site. Moving on to the next one, that is 1.2.4, captions live. All the live videos such as council meetings, agendas and minutes. I mostly work on the government entities right now. So we have agendas and minutes meeting, then council meetings. So those need live captions. And if you're adding it via AI, make sure that you're doing a governance properly, because AI can create some gibberish item that might be a situation.
Doesn't handle bilingual as well either.
Sorry?
Doesn't handle bilingual.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, AI. So make sure it's in a proper manner, and you can add a live. The solution for this is simple: add live captioning to your pre-event checklist. Enable captions inside your streaming services. Moving on to the next one, that is 1.2.5, audio description pre-recorded. All the pre-recorded videos must include an audio description track that narrates important visual details not spoken in original language. So for instance, if there is a video, that has some sort of information that is not perceived by an end user, they should have an audio track as well. So simple solution again: add a required audio description track field to every video entity, and block publishing through the content moderation until the visuals information is narrated. Moving on to the next one, that is 1.4.2, audio control. Any audio that is automatically played on the site can create an issue for the screen readers. So for that, you need to remove autoplay from every audio and video files. And if the autoplay is required, make sure that is muted, and always provide a visible pause button. Okay, let's move on to the next group, that is group 3, color and contrast. The memes, I hope the memes are really helpful for you guys. That's the main agenda. The first rule here is 1.4.1, use of colors. Color must never be the only way to convey your information. it must always be paired with text label, icon, and patterns. So for instance, if you have any input field that throws an error, and you just put it as a red box there. Red box can be an alert, that can be an information, red can be anything. But we want that information or text under it that has been an error, and you need to fix it. A solution for this is audit every error state, required fields, and chart, and ensure every use of color is paired with either text label, icon, or patterns. Moving on to the next one, that is color contra 1.4.3, that is contrast text, the one that we saw in the introduction slide. Text must have a minimum contrast ratio of 4.5:1 against its background, so the user with a low vision can see or read the content clearly. Simple solution: run every text and background color combination through any tool that is available online. We have Wave, color contrast checker, and make sure that these ratios are matched. Group 3 again, that is next tool is 1.4.11, non-text contrast. All the interactive UI elements, or for example buttons, radio icons, checkboxes, focus indicator must meet 3:1 contrast ratio against their background. Solution is simple. Audit every UI components, interactive UI components, and make sure that they're matching this ratio. Let's move on to the next group, that is text and typography. Under this group, we'll discuss the rules all related about the text and typography. So the first one is 1.4.4, resize text. Some simple summary: all the text must remain fully readable and functionable when zoomed to 200%. No content loss, no overlapping elements, and no broken layouts. So, for example, if you want to zoom in into the screen and the text is broken, it's overlapped, it's creating a scroll bar, this should be taken care of under this rule. Simple solution: replace all the fixed units with rem or m, and test your theme at 200% browser zoom. Moving on to the next one, that is 1.4.10, reflow. It's kind of a similar one, but at 400% zoom, all the content must reflow into a single column that is stacked one upon another, so that we are not giving the user like to scroll. There should be all stacked level. And simple solution again: fix and replace fixed pixels with the flexible units, and test your theme at 320 pixel viewport in the browser.
On that last one, what about something like a data table?
Data table?
Yeah.
I guess there are
So
libraries.
you have, like on smaller screen sizes, it will have a horizontal scroll.
Mhm.
On Drupal, there are some modules that
Yeah,
can convert
yeah.
it, but
I think there is a model like a stack table
yeah.
that creates a column structure for the tables, and you can specify the pixels.
Yeah, but it doesn't work for every kind of data table. There's been some instances where they do.
Maybe if any other person has a solution for this.
I mean, there are efforts to try and be able to make tables more responsive within Drupal 8. That's been something that was done, but all the modules within Drupal are not necessarily using the best practices of core around table layouts, or not layouts, but the table data table delivery. So I think maybe a matter of reporting where the issues that are, if you run into a module that's giving you that problem, to report it so
Yeah.
that they can hopefully address it, and to tag it as an accessibility issue.
Yeah, okay. I agree. Moving on to the next one, that is text spacing. Content must remain readable if user are overriding the text spacing, line heights, letter spacing, so without anything breaking or disappearing. Simple solution: again, replace the fixed units with flexible items, and remove overflow hidden, so that end user can have a good experience. Okay, so group 5, this is kind of like a first rule. Group 5 is all about the page structure and layout. The first rule is 1.3.1, info and relationships. This is something important, and when we are doing the audit, we find a lot of errors under this rule. If the content looks like a heading list, table, or just a list items, make sure it is in that coded, not in the CSS format, so that the screen reader can interpret the structure properly. For instance, if you want to create a heading, some people add in the bold CSS, maybe increase the font size, but once you strip off the CSS, everything is the same for screen reader. Very simple solution, or very simple quick test. Strip off the CSS from your HTML structure and see if everything is in a proper structure, that is UI, LI structure and heading sections. Solution for this is to configure the CK editor to restrict the heading levels, use semantic HTML in all the twig files, and train your editors to use a proper heading list and tables. One more interesting thing that I've found, or I've been working on, whenever you are using a view listing on any front page, on internal pages, make sure that you are using it as an ordered list or unordered list. So for example, if you have any latest updates, it should be an ordered list. That would make sense. That is first in items. And also block quotes, sometimes what we do is that we add it as just a div. That won't make any sense to the screen reader. You need to add a proper semantic code, so that the screen reader says, okay, we are good with this, we can proceed. Let's move on to the next one, that is 1.3.2, meaningful sequence. So when content has a logical order, that order must be reflected in the code as well, so that the screen readers are present information correctly. Sometimes what happens, we just use CSS flexbox grid, that creates another sequence, but that should not be the case. CSS should be only used for styling, not for reordering. Solution for this is order every field and block in the manage display and layout builder exactly as you want it to read. And CSS is just for the styling, don't use it for the reordering. The next is 1.3.3, sensory characteristics. Instruction must never rely solely on the shape, color, size, positions. Always describe what something does, not what it looks like. We don't want the end user to click on the green button. But if a person who is not able to check the color, they might not able to see the green button. So we need to provide proper information with the text in that component. Solution for this is train editors to describe actions, not appearances. Install any ADA testing tool for real-time warnings when sensory-only references are detected. ADA testing tools can be either it's Sally, editorially, AI editorially. Those are currently popular ones. Next one is 1.3.4, orientation. Content must work in both portrait and landscape. They must never be locked to the one direction. So for example, if someone has a motor disability and they need to place their mobile phone or tablet on their wheelchair, and they are supposed to be placed in a specific position, they might feel some issue. They won't be able to see the content on your site. So that creates a gap. We need to bridge that gap. And to do that, we need to do is remove every CSS orientation log from your theme and test your page templates that are in both portrait and landscape mode. And best solution is to start with the mobile first approach. That will really help you to build a proper responsive design. The next one is 1.3.5, identify the input purpose. Form fields collecting personal data must also be coded with an autocomplete attribute, so that the browser can autofill them for the user who struggle to type. It's pretty much simple. If you are collecting personal information, you need to do an autocomplete attribute to the fields. Solution for that is add the correct autocomplete to every personal data field and audit custom tweaks or templates to ensure that autocomplete attributes are never stripped off. Moving on to the next one, that is 2.4.2, page title. Every page must have unique descriptive titles that clearly identifies it from its content, so the screen reader knows where they are exactly and what is the purpose of the page. I guess in Drupal we have meta tag module that just takes care of it, and we just need to set a pattern properly for the title so that every page can automatically have a descriptive title. Then moving on to the next one, that is 2.4.6, heading and labels. Every heading and form labels must clearly describe its content or purpose so that screen reader can understand the page structure without reading every word. So for example, if we have any page that has sections and each section has some descriptive heading, we are not supposed to provide like section 1 and some description. Describe what's inside that section, not just a section. Solution is to train the editors to write the descriptive headings and configure your form fields labels to clearly identify what is required. Okay, let's move on to the next group, that is keyboard and focus. Again, this rule, it's kind of like a major failure for every sites that I see. So let's look into this. Rule number 2.1.1, that is keyboard. Every feature and interaction must be fully operable using keyboard only. No mouse required. For that, you just need to unplug your mouse. Disconnect it. Test it via your keyboard, the site. If you're not stuck somewhere, you're happy, you're good to go. The site is accessible for the keyboard rule. If not, you need to work on that. Solution, like I said, every link, button, form fields, custom widget, if you're adding any custom JS widget, they all must respect the keyboard rule. Moving on to the next one, that is 2.1.2, no keyboard trap. Keyboard users must never get trapped inside any component. They must always be able to move the focus away using standard keyboard keys. Models are popular for that. You need a support for the escape key or a close button, so that we can just get out from that model. We don't want the user to be trapped inside that. The next rule is 2.1.4, character key shortcuts. Single character keyboard shortcuts must be remappable, dismissible, or focus specific, so speech recognition user never accidentally trigger them. So if you have any keys, either you can disable it or provide a modified key combination, that is Ctrl plus S. Simple enough. Moving on to the next one, that is 2.4.1, bypass block. Again, this is another important rule that I see. Every page must have skip link to main content link so that the keyboard users can bypass the repeated blocks that is like navigation, search bar, then logo from the page, so that they can just jump directly to their main page content. Suppose if you are the end user, you have to use the keyboard, not the mouse, and you have to do the tab and just to jump to the main content. It's so much tedious. You have to go through every single navigation items. No, that's not a good practice. We need to provide a bypass block. Solution, add the skip link to the main content, make it visually hidden but visible on focus, so that the user can bypass and jump to the main content straight away. Moving on to the next rule, that is 2.4.3, that is focus order. Keyboard focus must move the page in the logical, meaningful sequence, never jump randomly. This again is related to the sequential ordering. If your page structure is in the proper sequence, then this works very well. Positive tab index is an enemy of the focus order. Remove every tab index greater than 0 from your theme and let the DOM code decide your structure or the focus order. Moving on to the next one, that is 2.4.7 focus visible. Every focusable element must display a clearly focused visible indicator. You are not supposed to remove the outline CSS, make it as null, because that creates a problem. We are not able to see where we are focused in right now. And also we need to meet the contrast ratio of 3:1 for that indicator. You can either add a border or box shadow to make sure that it is visible. Okay, let's move on to the next group, that is group 7, timing and motions. The first rule is 2.2.1, timing adjustable. Any time limit on your site must be adjustable or extendable so that end user has their own control. You are not trying to control them. They need to control that. So they are never locked out from the situation or any important form. Simple solution: install automated logout module, configure the visible warning minutes before expiry, and give user one-click extend option. It's more of giving them the ability. Have you guys worked with this module? Because I haven't tried this, but this is something a solution for that. Let's move on to the next one, that is 2.2.2 pause, stop, hide. Again, this is another an important rule because we have carousel sliders that comes under this. Any automatic moving, blinking, or scrolling content that lasts more than 5 seconds must have a visible pause button, stop, or hide control. Solution for this is simple. Either you disable the auto advancing on all the carousel sliders, add a visible pause button to that, and respect the preference reduce motion media query. Let's move on to the next rule, that is 2.3.1, flashes or below. No content on the web page should flash more than 3 times per second, as it can cause seizure. So you just need to do, solution is you need to do an audit through your media library, check if any GIF or CSS animation or videos are causing these issues. If yes, just remove it or try to add the media query, preference reduce motion. Let's move on to the next one, that is 2.5.4, motion actuation. Every motion trigger feature must have a button, alternative, and a disable option because not every user can control their device. Solution simple enough. Respect the preference reduce motion in your theme CSS and provide a button alternative for every motion triggered feature. Moving on to the next group, that is navigation and wayfinding. Again, popular one, click here buttons, click here links. Every link must clearly describe its destination purpose through its link text so that the screen readers can know what's going on the content. Solution pretty much simple. Editorial really helps with this rule. Replace every click here, read more, learn more thing, with the descriptive link, or you can do a trick that is visually hidden text or area label to the context of the link so that the screen readers are okay with that. Let's move on to the next one, that is 2.4.5, multiple ways. In this, every page must be reachable through at least two or more different methods so that the users can find the content in the website. They must not get lost inside the website. Like, we need to create a proper map for them, and for that you can add like a site-wise search, HTML sitemap, or the navigation. Pretty much simple. And yeah, that's what I think we have. Never leave users on the one path. Moving on to the next rule, that is 3.2.1, on focus. Moving focus to any element must never automatically trigger an unexpected change like opening the page or submitting a form. This is kind of a sensitive one because if you're doing a financial transaction and if you're just selecting or doing on focus, that can cause some financial loss. We need to focus on that. And the solution for that is never use on focus events to trigger page redirects, form submissions or pop-ups, or just only fire actions when they want to click the submit button. Next one is 3.2.2 on input. Similar one, if you are trying to put an input inside the field, that should not trigger automatic change to the page. You need to submit. You need to create a button that will submit the form for them. Replace every auto submitting drop-down, language switcher, and expose filter with an explicit apply or go button. Here we have another, like what we have seen is if we have a view listing and then we have expose filter at the top, you need to add apply button and the reset button to increase the experience for the end user. We are not supposed to do that like on input change. Moving on to the next one, that is 3.2.3 consistent navigation. Navigation menus are appearing on multiple pages must always appear in the same or relative order so that the user can reliably find and use them. I guess it's covered in Drupal. We have blocks placed in the layout. But if you have using the layout builder and overriding it for a couple of pages, you need to take care of that. Make sure you don't do that. Then moving on to the next one, that is 3.2.4 consistent identification. Components that perform the same function across multiple pages must always use the same label and accessible name. So for example, if you have a search button at the top on the front page and the same search button is in the footer that says find the content, that won't make any sense and it breaks their rule. For that you need to just apply the similar name, that is search button. Solution: standardized block title, button labels, area labels across all the pages, and same function must always have the same name. Then moving on to the next group, that is pointer and touch, the 9th group. And the first rule here is 2.5.1, pointer gestures. All the functionality using complex gestures like pinch, swipe must have some button so that they can be operated by the people who are disabled or they are not able to do the pinching gesture. You can see it in the Google map. That's a classic example. They have you can pinch into the map, or you have like plus and minus button at the bottom. Another example, carousel sliders, add the navigation buttons, and you're good with that. Let's move on to the next one, that is 2.5.2 pointer cancellation. Actions triggered by the single pointer must not execute on the down event alone. Users must be able to cancel accidental clicks before action completes. Pretty much simple. If you're trying to, if user who has some motion disability and they are trying to click or try to cancel it, you must respect this rule for that. Solution for this is use click events, not mouse down for all the interactive elements, and add a confirmation dialog to every destructive actions. The next one is 2.5.3 labeling name. Accessible name of all the interactive elements must contain its visible label, so screen readers can activate it by speaking the way they see. Simple enough. Label should be audit every area label in your theme, ensure it contains the visible text. If the button says submit, then it should also say the same text. Moving on to the next one, that is 1.4.13, content on hover or focus. Any content that appears on hover or focus must stay visible enough so that they can read. It's again giving them control rather than taking out of them. And it should be dismissible with the escape or any buttons. For example, if you have site alerts at the top of the page and it just dismisses automatically, that's a fail. Solution for this is replace CSS only tooltips with the JavaScript hover intent so that the tooltips stay open when the mouse moves onto them, and all escape key dismissal to the form. Moving on to the next group, that is group 10, forms and errors. The first rule here is 3.3.1 error identification. So when a form error occurs, the specific field in the form, specific field in the error must clearly identify the problem and describe it in the plain text. In this case, well, let's say we have a date field or email field, and the end user is trying to put in some information, and they're not matching the date format that we're supposed to get into our system, and we're just throwing an error that date error occurred. The user is not able to find the solution for that. So we need to provide, like, this is a proper date format or an email address, so that they can add in the proper format inside that. Solution, simple enough. I guess we have inline form error module that helps in Drupal to automatically generate accessible error messages and gets linked to each field by area described by. Moving on to the next one, that is 3.3.2, labels or instruction. Every form field must have clear visible permanent labels, and complex fields must include formats, instructions, so users know what to enter before they start typing. Every form field, solution again, every form field needs a permanent visible label. Common scenario of this is if you have any search bar at the top of the page and you just try to do placeholder as a label, so that's a failure. You need to write a proper text or label at the top of the search bar so that it's always visible for the end user. Moving on to the next one, that is 3.3.3, error suggestion. So when a form detects an error and knows how to fix its correction must be clearly suggested in the text so that the users are not left guessing. Configure the form. Solution is configure the form validation message to include specific corrections, replace every generic message with specific suggestions. Again, it comes back to that the rule, that is error identification. Similar to that. And let's move on to the next one, that is 3.3.4, error prevention. Any form that triggers legal, financial issues must allow users to review their submission before finalizing it. So solution for that is to add a preview page to any consequential form, like, are you sure about this? And if they're okay, they'll just click okay, and the form must be submitted after that. Like, it's creating a check flows. A simple example for this is you can check when you're trying to delete any node inside Drupal. It asks for it. Are you sure you want to delete this node? That's an example for error prevention. I guess Drupal is handling very well for the accessibility if you're using the plain Drupal. But if you're using customization, it's just you need to take care of it, or you can mess it up. Either or. Moving on to the second last group, that is language and comprehension. 3.1.1 rule number and language of part. Every page must declare its language in HTML language attribute, so the screen readers automatically switch to the correct pronunciation engine. Drupal handles this very well for us, setting up the language under regional language, and it automatically converts your attributes to the page. You don't need to worry. But if you're using a language switcher, make sure that this rule is checked. Moving on to the next one, that is 3.1.2, language of parts. So if you have any blocks inside your page that is described in another language, for example French, your French is popular, so you need to mention the attribute that this block is now in French, so that the screen reader can pronounce the block properly. Simple solution, allow lang attributes on span elements in CK editor text format settings, and train your editors to wrap everything inside the foreign language block. So it's good with the screen readers. Moving on to the last group, that is group 12, assistive technology and tools. The first rule, 4.1.1, parsing, which is actually deprecated from WCAG 2.2, but we can just look at the summary. HTML must be valid so that assistive technology can reliably parse and interpret the page structure. Solution for this to validate your theme against W3C markup and audit all your Twig templates to make sure that you are not using any duplicate IDs or incorrect nesting. Moving on to the next one, that is 4.1.2, name role value. Again, this rule I have seen a lot of issue. If you are using any interactive elements and you are not mentioning the role values or the state in it. So for example, if you have any collapsible buttons, accordions, models, you need to mention the solution. So let's see the summary first. Every interactive element must have an accessible name, declare its role, and communicate its current state so that the screen reader actually see what's happening at the content. Solution is use native HTML as much as possible. Native HTML elements, semantic HTML, this just helps you a lot. And for custom widgets, area labels, add area label role, area expanded, checked, update states dynamically with your JavaScript. Then moving on to the last rule, that is 1.4.3 status message. Any status messages that appears without focus moving to it must use area live region so the screen readers automatically announce the updates. Now, in this scenario, if you, it's like we need to create a balance. If you're having any information dynamically popped up on your screen, you need to mention it to them, like the screen reader. It should read that the pop-up has occurred or error has occurred. But every time now and then, the screen reader may get lost or it creates a noise for that. Solution is to add area live polite to all the success criteria, status messages, and role is equals to alert to all error messages. So every dynamic page update is automatically announced to the screen readers without ever moving focus away from where the user is working. Another example or another situation that I've seen is missing is when you're using Ajax for the views. When you're trying, if you use Ajax, it's refreshing the content, but it's not refreshing the page. We need to mention that using the status message that your content is updated. Similarly for the carousels, if your automatic sliders, carousels, it's automatically updated, but the screen readers is not checking, like currently right now slide 1 is mentioned. So we need status messages for that. These are my references, and if you guys have any questions, comments, or inputs, or discussion, we are open to that. Thank you so much for we are over time. Sorry about that. Is this a 50 rules trying to squeeze it into this 40 minutes? It's too much. Should I press this button?